All right, in this video, I'm going to talk you through taking this instrument in the leadership module. You start with this part, which has 12 questions. And for example, there's a situation and it's asking you, what would you do? And it lists 4 alternative actions, A, B, C, and D. So you read the situation, decide what you would do, and you do it for the 12 questions. And what you're going to do is move down here and you'll circle your answer for, like for example, question number 1. Circle the letter that you selected. And then circle the letter. Over here in column B, do the same thing. This blank box is B. And then go to number 2. So what I want you to do now is pause the video and answer the 12 questions and circle each letter in this grid from 1 to 12. Okay, welcome back. You should have your circles in both columns here. And what you're going to do now is you're going to count the circles in each of these columns. In column 1, count the circles and put a number in that box. Count column 2, a number in that box, 3 and 4. And then you're going to come over here to column 2 and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to count the number of circles and put it right here in each of these boxes. And then notice there's a calculation on this one you're going to do. You're going to take this number and multiply it by a -2. So you're probably going to get a negative number down here. So if I had the number 2 here and I multiplied by -2, I'd have -4. And this one here, you're going to multiply by -1. So basically, you're just going to make the number negative. So if I had 4, this would be a -4. Then here, you multiply by +1. So you're basically just moving the number down. Here's by +2. So you're going to multiply by 2. Then you're going to add these up to get a total number. Okay, so we should have a number in each of these 4 boxes, and you should have now a total number right here. Okay, so now the next step is move into this chart, and from the column over here, in quadrant 1, you're going to take the score from column 1 here, and you're going to put it in quadrant 1. And then you're going to do column 2, and you're going to put it in quadrant 2, and then 3 and 4. Now this is the second column. In other words, this column right here is moved onto this page, and here's that total that you calculated. So now this number, and this number could be negative or positive. So it could be anywhere from -24 to +24. You're going to make a mark along this continuum that matches that number. So if it's positive, you're going to put it up in here. If it's negative, you're going to put it down here. And once you've done that, we're ready for interpretation. And so to start off with, the number in the quadrant that is the highest becomes your preferred style. Now, some of you may have a tie. If so, then it means you use more than one quadrant often, and so it's almost like it's describing a comfort level you have using a style. This theory is a contingency theory, so ideally you learn how to do the leadership styles in all 4 quadrants. And that's because it's making the assumption that people are different and situations are different. So you're going to need to use different quadrants for different people and different situations. And then the number down here, so what we're getting when we see this, you get your preferred style with the highest number, and also seeing if you have numbers in all 4 quadrants and they're fairly close together, you're seeing then you have some flexibility. Now, others you may see, say, a 0 in one quadrant, meaning you don't have a lot of comfort in doing that style. So what you want to do is build a comfort level in delivering all 4 styles. Now, this along here is how well did you diagnose what was needed in the situation? In other words, did you pick the right style for the right person in that situation? And the closer you get to the high end of effective, the better you did diagnosing the situation. The closer you are down here in the negatives, the worse you did in diagnosing. So typically what that means is you're just using your preferred style rather than diagnosing the situation. So now let's talk about the theory. And I'm going to skip down to the model. Now that you have your numbers, notice there's 2 parts to the model. There's the 4 styles, and then there's what's called maturity of followers down here. And so what we have on the horizontal continuum is task behavior. In other words, it's paying attention to the task and using directive behavior. And that on the vertical continuum is supportive behavior, paying attention to the relationship. Now notice in style 1, it's characterized by what's called telling. It says it's high task and low relationship. So you're focused mostly on tasks, less so on the relationship. In other words, you're telling because the employee, the follower, in theory is down here with a low level of, they use the word maturity, but it's not like the dictionary definition. What maturity means is a combination of the follower's ability to perform the task, or their competence, and their willingness to perform the task. So that'd be their commitment. So, and we're seeing here M1 would be low. In other words, they it would be a low commitment, low competence. And as we move on, then their competence still is low here, but their commitment's higher. And then you get into M3 where they start to have higher competence, and then M4 where they have high competence and high commitment. So what style 1 is telling, so you're focused on the task. You're not so worried about the relationship. And this works when it's a match with the employee, where the employee needs to understand the task and they understand that they need to understand the task, and they're still willing to do the task. They just don't know what to do. Now, as we move up into style 2, the follower now, they still don't know what to do, but they're less committed. They're less willing in doing it. So the leadership moves into what's called a selling style, where they're explaining the task, but they're also focused on the relationship because they're trying to build commitment in the employee to do it. Now, as you move over to style 3, the focus is on high relationship and low task. Now here we're making the assumption the follower, they kind of know what they're doing, but maybe it's been a while, they lack confidence. So as a leader, what you're doing, you're focusing on their relationship. You're building their confidence to perform the task. And finally, when you get down here into style 4, notice it says low relation and low task, not no relation, no task. As a leader, you don't need to do a lot because you trust the employee knows what they're doing and they're willing to do it. So they don't need a lot of guidance. They do need some communication, so it's low. Now, also, a follower on each task could be at a different position on the maturity model down here. In other words, for example, something that deals with my schoolwork, I might be at an M4 position. I've done it before. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident. And then when I get home, I find that I have a plumbing problem. Say the sink stopped up. So now the question becomes, what is my competence and willingness to work on the sink? And that may be different than what I was doing at work today. And so it means I would need a different leadership style because the tasks change. So the leader needs to be aware of where their people are based upon the tasks that they're asked to perform. And so the fail-safe approach to this is the leader has a conversation with their employee about the task. When they assign the task, they talk about with the employee in terms of their confidence in performing the task. In other words, have you done this before? Are you confident in doing it? What do you need from me as your leader? Do you need me to check back in? In other words, maybe it's been a while since they've done it. Their confidence is not real high, so I'll check back in soon and see how you're doing. Or maybe they're saying, hey, look, no problem. I do this all the time. I'll have it done in a short period. So that means you can trust that you've delegated it, and you probably are not going to need to check in on it. So the idea in this model, notice they're transactional leadership behaviors because you're dealing with your employees and your employees in performing tasks they've been assigned at work. And in each case, it becomes a matter of how much instruction do you give them and how much attention to the relationship do you have to pay. Now, notice that if you have an employee who's M4 over here on the model, and you come in because your comfort zones is style 1, and you're telling them what to do, you're going to create resentment. That is the definition of micromanaging. You're telling an employee who already knows what they're doing what they should do, and they're going to resent that. So the key to being an effective leader is being able to diagnose the situation correctly, provide the right amount of direction and the right amount of support that is needed in order for the employee to be successful. And the ultimate goal for you as a leader is to move all your employees through this model so that they're in this high position where they're competent on their tasks and they're willing to do it. They're confident, they're competent, they're confident, they're willing. That's your goal. And then you have all of your people are stars, and you are in a high performance zone because everyone's getting a lot of things done. You're able to get things done because you can delegate a lot of the tasks that need to be done to your people. So this is a good model. It's one of the best models out there. This is the old version of the model, but it's still, the concept's still pretty solid. So anyway, I wanted to talk you through it and on the scoring. Thanks.